send me how you make it,
Yeah.
please? And like, seriously, I'll try it. I will.
I mean, the first few times I did it, I was like, I don't know about this, but now I'm like addicted to it. Yeah, seriously.
Okay.
I'm wearing my festive shirt today because I had quite the deal last night go down. My God.
What? Tell me.
Well, I had a listing that was super beautiful, but a little bit of a aggressive homeowner, and the market is crazy right now. We're 2018. It's
Yeah.
basically, we're kind of like 2018, which is fine. And it's actually really fun if you know what to do. Okay. It's like super fun if you know what to do, because you can set yourself apart so much. Also, contingent offers are back. So let's say you're an investor and you have a seller that's willing to sell, but they want to buy somewhere and they need to sell buy. You're giving them a cash offer maybe, or whatever. What I'm starting to do is and I'm telling everybody to do is just call up. I was 3 for 3 yesterday, even in the $2 million range, with calling up listings and saying, hey, would your seller by any chance accept a contingent offer? 3 for 3, 3 calls, 3 yeses. And we're talking, they haven't been on the market even that long.
Nice.
So you just, if you know what your market is, I mean, it's kind of like easy pickings, right? And then huge opportunity to deal, if you're an investor, right? I mean, that's, work with an agent if you're not an agent, and that's the way to get people out of the house so you can buy it, right?
That's what I love about real estate, is that it's constantly evolving and changing. And, it's exciting to be able to think outside the box and up your game to make it work for what's going on
now
right
being streamed live on YouTube.
Oh my God, do we have like an MC I don't know about? Yes, this meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. Is that you who's talking there?
That's me, John.
Hey, John. Welcome to the live stream of Seattle Investors Club meetup. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
You look like you're in a movie. You actually look like you should be in, like, what's that movie? One Player One, or whatever that movie is.
A movie?
Yeah, you look like you're, I don't know why. To me, you look like a movie celebrity right now because you're the one on my screen that I can see. You're like in my, I don't know why it's reminding me of some movie.
Wow. Maybe it's just like the good camera quality or something.
Yeah. What are you up to? Tell us about you, John.
Oh, I just joined this meeting off meetups.com. So
Cool.
It was like an investors group.
Yeah. Are you investing now, getting into it, learning about it, already crushing it?
Getting into it, I'd say.
Cool. Where are you located?
I'm located in Southern Oregon.
Southern Oregon. Is that Corvallis, or what is that?
The Rogue Valley?
Rogue Valley, not so much.
Ashland, Medford,
Oh.
Phoenix, Talent. Those places.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm in Ashland.
Cool. That, what everybody says when you're from Ashland, right? They go, oh, do you go to the Shakespeare Festival?
Yep.
They still have that, or COVID killed that?
COVID killed that.
Done over forever?
Done over forever.
That's
Oh,
sad.
man.
That's really sad.
No more French a wench.
Guess so. I was actually in a Shakespeare play when I was in 5th grade.
Sweet. Well, my cousin lives in Vancouver, Washington, and was just looking at buying a deal down there in Corvallis. Did we say Corvallis is in your neck of the woods, or did we say Ashland Medford? We said Ashland Medford. I don't know my Oregon map very well. Awesome. So, what are you wholesaling, or what do you want to buy and flip, or burr, or what? If you know what all that means.
Yeah, no, I'm just more like investing in like smaller things like stocks, and I'm trying to learn how to invest in real estate.
Well, you are in the right place.
Because I'm trying to be rich eventually, so.
There you go. Don't get rich off your job, right? You got to invest your money. Cool. Well, come hang out with us, even if you're just a fly on the wall until do you know about Bigger Pockets?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Bigger Pockets is a great place for you to tap into that has loads and loads of training and articles and tools and stuff like that. You know, and then of course, what I would do if I were you is I would find your local real estate investment club meetup down there. And I would go hang with those people. I would go to those meetings and check it out. Joe just dropped the Bigger Pockets link for you there. So
Thanks, Joe.
thanks for showing up. We'll just do our thing here and hopefully you'll pick up some good info. Anybody have anything they want to talk about today? Because I'm super hyper after my energy boost.
Ginger.
So I have a question. So I'm coming across this quite a bit. You know, I'm seeing this double wholesaling thing, and I'm just thinking, how does that work on a, you know, on a legal ground? Because, you know, I will go to these opportunities that come through the mail, right? And often the wholesaler is different than the one who's marketing the piece. I'm like, wow, how's there enough room? First of all, how's there enough meat on the bones? That's one thing. And second, how are they doing this to not prevent somebody, you know, from screwing themselves? So
it's totally illegal to daisy chain and do that. That's the illegal wholesaling. There probably isn't any money involved in that, or only, you know, but remember when you see a deal come across your desk or whatever, however you see it, you don't have to offer what they're asking. Remember we talked about being in position number 2, being the good spot.
yeah.
Right. So, you know, couple places to look for deals where the big wholesalers are posting their deals. One's called Investor Lift. Have you heard of it?
Okay. Yeah. I was just on it just now.
I don't know if that's like LoopNet where deals go to die or something like that, because you'd think these guys have their go-tos already.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Sunday has deals. Are you on Sunday?
I've not been on there yet, but I've applied, you know, hard money through them. Mm-hmm.
Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
You've used their hard money, Edge or whatever?
Yeah, they just started doing it, and we just submitted, but we don't know where that's going to take us.
Gotcha. Let us know your feedback on that. Usually Kevin jumps on with us.
Okay.
Julie, what did you say was the first one? Investor something? I'd never
Investor Lift.
Why have I not heard of that?
It's come up on radar like this last month, and a lot of deals are coming in through there.
Cool.
They'll point
all the national wholesalers use it. It's changed their business. That's where they post all their deals. It's like their off-market MLS kind of.
Yeah.
Cool. I am looking to do a flip up north. So I'd prefer north of Arlington. If anybody has anything come up, let me know.
North of Arlington. What towns are north of Arlington?
There's many.
So,
North Snohomish County, Skagit County, and Whatcom County. That's what I'm looking at.
Why don't you talk to Ruby Davis and see if he has any?
I do.
Because he probably has enough deals. He can't do them all.
Yeah,
he's a partner.
He's a rock star, man.
He's doing great. He kind of stays to himself, which I love. I love the fact that he can kick ass and not feel like he's got to be talking to everybody all the time, right? Those are the people that actually are kicking butt. Who else is up there?
I'm on all the Northwest or the Bellingham investing group, and everything like that, but we'll see what comes up.
So back to my original question though, how does a wholesaler, or how does the guy who markets this stuff and prevent themselves from not me who want to buy, talking to the wholesaler directly and cut them out of the picture?
Sometimes I don't even know that the underlying wholesaler may not even know that it's being daisy chained.
Oh,
I mean,
that's interesting.
You know, I would just offer what you can offer,
and there's nothing, right?
That person,
okay,
that, you know, they'll go back to the underlying wholesaler maybe and say, hey, you know, I can get this done for you, but you need to share your fee with me because I'm bringing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I think deals that don't work for wholesalers are gold for people that keep track of them and get in line and get in, queue number 2 spot.
Mhm.
Remember, Julia, when you did that deal one time where your sister or somebody wanted to get a house and you're like, damn, I missed it at the auction. And I said, go ask them to buy it off them for 20 grand more. And you got it.
So that was for my daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
It totally worked. I found out who bought it at auction so it was a listing on the MLS. The listing agent didn't file paperwork in time, and so it did go to auction. I contacted her, found out who bought it at the auction, and then we just worked out a deal. And it was during the time when, the market was just starting to go, and first-time home buyers, my kid couldn't find anything that they could afford. So it was the way to do it. And long story short, they ended up selling a year and a half later, and they got a divorce as well, but they each walked with 40 grand.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, nice about the 40 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of things. There's actually, just I'm making this up as I go. You could technically, for deals that you're like, damn, I missed that one. You could go to that, find out who the buyer was and go directly to that buyer of that wholesale deal. And maybe because your profit margin might be less, or you'd be willing to take less than them, offer them, X amount of money, or call them up and say, hey, do you want to partner? Or, there's all kinds of ways to get in on a deal. Call them up.
That's the key. Call them up. And that's what I do for buyers, call up the listing agent, find out what the seller really wants. It's not always like highest dollar. Use the same tactics to try and find off-market properties as well.
Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing this. Yeah, that's some good stuff here. Well, let's see. Anybody else? Did you get your question answered, Jack? I don't think
cool.
It's technically, I don't think legal. I mean, there could be, I know like Greg Gallagher. Do you know who that is?
No, never heard.
I believe he totally co-wholesales because he teaches wholesalers how to wholesale. And he has a way to do it with probably the legal way to do it. But, and as I mentioned, I think that wholesale deals, well, at least from the big guys, from the bigger wholesalers, and maybe even some of the guys that wholesale 20 deals a year instead of 20 deals a month might start changing because of Novation. I don't know if you guys, maybe Joe can drop the podcast link down there, but for God's sakes, Julia, you too, everybody should learn about Novation and what that means, because it's going to take the place of wholesaling for those that are full-time wholesalers, right? The one-off people here and there, those are the perfect people to be following up with that are not full-time wholesalers, right? Because they usually need help somehow. They don't know how to get rid of their deal. Those are the best people to follow up with. But the bigger wholesalers like Victor, he actually just messaged me this morning. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah. So we are going to have lunch in about a week or two. I mean, that guy does 20 deals a month as a wholesaler. But guess what? They're not doing anymore. They're not selling them to guys like you, Jack. They are listing them on the MLS through something called Novation. Joe just dropped the link to our podcast with Corey Geary that explains the whole thing. But basically what it is wholesalers are, I'm going to just put it in layman's terms, sort of, are essentially doing a net listing. They're putting it under contract like a normal. They're having them sign what's called a novation agreement. They're having the seller sign an attorney in fact that then gives them the permission, limited power to sign listing paperwork and purchase and sale agreements. And they are essentially working with agents like myself to list those on the market for sale. Essentially as a net listing, the investor files the memorandum or notice of interest on the property like a lien, and that's how they get paid, because title company calls up how much to remove your lien, and then they get paid off that way. And that investor covers all the any repairs an appraiser would call out, all the commissions, closing costs, everything. So the seller is just getting a net number and the investor is getting everything above that. That's what a net listing is. And so that has a bad buzzword to it in the real estate community in general with agents and in the news and so forth.
Because they don't understand it.
No, because they consider it stealing from the seller because somebody makes a ton of money above the net price and it's not fair. But the reality is, okay, two things. One, the Northwest MLS just deleted the prohibition on net listings. Whoop. You're on my team, Julia. We're in the same world. We're in the same community hybrid team. So I'm working on something for us that I will be letting you know about. And I'm working on it with, so we might be able to take advantage of this situation, I guess I'd say, and on the up and up.
You're so cryptic.
As brokers, yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into like public service announcements and
it's exciting
stuff like that. But if you guys want to hang out with me, hang out with me. The other thing is that we don't need to understand. I mean, if you're an investor and you're buying wholesale deals, those are sellers that are willing to let go of their property for a lower, a discount price. And sometimes they're not even beat up too much, right? Because they're motivated, they have a reason, their personal life and circumstances, or they don't want to, dictate that they'd like to do that. They don't want the hassles and they don't need to squeeze every juice out of it, whatever. We don't need to figure out, and nobody needs to figure out really why they've decided to do that. The fact of the matter is there's people that will. There are also sellers that will agree to this type of novation / I'll call it net listing situation. You'd think, well, they have to sign all the paperwork in the beginning. And with novation, they're signing the deed at the end. Okay. The investor's signing all the other paperwork in the middle and handling everything, right? Kind of like acting like a broker, if you'd ask me, but that why the hell would a seller want to do that? Why wouldn't they just sign listing paperwork and get all the money they're due? Because we don't need to figure out why. There is a lane of homeowners that don't want to be bothered with a listing, but want closer to a market price. Maybe not the full thing, but something that doesn't work for a flip or a burr or whatever, right? An investor. So there's the little piece that's always been missing. In the past, what's happened with those is that the investors just continue to lowball them and they end up picking up a lowball deal that they either take off the market into a rental pool as a burr, no home for affordable home, buyers that need an affordable home because now it's in the rental pool, or they flip it and now it's blinged out and that's out of the affordable purchase price range for people, right? This actually sort of a public service announcement. So when the novation happens, at least those deals are going back to the affordable housing crowd and they're able to list them on the market and accept FHA, VA, conventional loans on these deals. And what they do is they go wholesale contract between underlying wholesaler and seller, A to B, right? And then a wholesale deal, then you go B to C with the end buyer, right? On a novation agreement, the B contract, the B in the middle, the A to B contract goes away. And it's now just A to C. So it's just underlying seller selling directly to final end, retail buyer, okay, with that investor in the middle getting paid out on like a lien, okay, that they've put on the title that is basically covering their calculation of the upside of the house beyond this homeowner's net number that they require. So you go to a homeowner and you say, hey, I'm a cash buyer. I'll pay you 300 grand. They said, I can't take 300. I don't want 300. I'm not going to do it, but I'll take 330. Well, Mr. Homeowner, I'm sorry, but we're investors and we need to make a, marginal profit. And so we're just not your right buyer. However, I've talked to my team and our underwriting team, and we do have a concierge service actually that I had to work hard, but your property actually qualifies for it if you want to hear about that. Well, what's that? Well, since we have to get rid of and dispose of all the properties that we own as investors, when we resell them, we work with a lot of buyers, agents, the MLS, we're disposition experts. And we have a concierge program that we can essentially, all you need to worry about is your net number that you want, your 330, and we'll take care of the rest. You know, you have to sign, you know, our contract with us, and then you sign the deed on the final sale at the end, and you just get your check. We handle all, you know, we might list it on the MLS. We might sell it to one of our other investor partners. We might, whatever, all these things we might do. You don't have to worry about it. You can sit back and relax and just wait for your net number to come. And we'll handle the rest. You don't have to negotiate if any repairs come up, nothing. You don't have to sign any listing paperwork. As part of that, we, you know, however they go into the spiel, right? How's that sound? Well, that sounds great. Then they break out, sign their underlying contract with a novation agreement, an attorney in fact. I need to have authorization, you know, limited, however they say that. You can listen to the podcast with Corey Geary, who is the guy that has teaching this right now. There's lots of them teaching it, but we had Corey Geary on the podcast, and he actually has a course. I think honestly, everybody should learn about it because it's going to take the place of wholesaling in a big way. It's like wholesaling was 10 years ago, and it's apparently allowed. It's been lawyered up. And the good part is that as a broker, we can work with, and if we're in that situation with a lead, we can go to one of our novation partners, an investor, and say, hey, I have a deal for you, right? I'm going to list it. You're going to novate it. Let's go. Because I don't want to do a net listing. At least maybe I might change my mind, but right now I don't. I'd rather just be the agent, right? Than do a net listing. Maybe I'll change my mind down the road, because as long as because it has a bad juju to it kind of publicly, but as long as you've given somebody every option on the planet and they've chosen the option, you know, you're golden. It's, you know, it's just about giving people options and all their options, not just one option. When you do that, then you can be considered a bit of a skeezer, or you're just an investor and you say, well, that's what I do. And that's my offer. And that's fine. Right. But I myself like I think it's super fun to, you know, have all these buckets, and it just makes it so much more interesting to be a broker investor and have all these different tools available. And that's, of course, what I teach on my team. And we are about to get into the season of whoever knows the most creative options and all that stuff is going to be setting themselves apart greatly here for the next rest of the year. We'll see if we go back to normal, maybe, you know, in the winter, but that's what I got. So check out that podcast. That'd be good for you to know about too. You know, all you guys. So that's what I got there. Anybody have any questions about that? No. What else is going on? Who else do we have here?
Hey, Julie, how's it going?
Albert, where are you?
I'm over in Limitless, over in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Scottsdale.
Okay. Are there a lot of Seattle people there?
Seen a few, yeah. Just registered, just logged in.
So, Tarl, did he move to Arizona?
I mean, last I heard he was in Hawaii. I think he's just doing his event out here. I don't know.
I think he just moved. Do
He
you know
did? Oh,
Julia?
cool.
I think Tarl might have just moved to Arizona.
Who?
Tarl. Grace and Tarl move to Arizona?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe they're just there. Maybe they're just there in a hotel for Limitless. I don't know.
Is that the new like Fortune Builders, Limitless?
Limitless is the new big badass real estate conference.
Yeah.
But now
They kind of combined it, you know. They
I know there's the Bigger Pockets one coming up in San Diego as well.
we'll be at that one too.
Leica is part of one that's about multifamily coming up here in Seattle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Called like Equity Disrupt or something like that.
Was it MFIN, or Multifamily Investor Network or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's July 23rd. I'll be there too. It's in downtown Seattle.
Yeah, I'll go if I'm in town. I'm hoping to be in Salzburg, Austria myself, but
Woo!
yeah,
Do it.
I'm trying, man. That is
Do
the
it.
plan. What else is happening? Phil, what's up, brother?
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. Just
you guys
popping
still
in, trying to be a fly on the wall and learn.
Are you and sister Elisa still flipping, or are you guys not flipping?
No, we took a break. She kind of got burnt on it, and so I'm just kind of leaning into the agent side of things.
Gotcha. Rock on. Yeah. What else? Has anybody had a challenge in the last week or whenever we saw you last that you need some help on, or like, how do I handle that? Let's throw
I
it
do
on
have
the
a
table.
question.
What's up,
I
Ian?
have, so I have the option of refinancing my park or the option of refinancing some homes. If I refinance the park, the interest rate I'm getting quoted is like around 4.5, which is, but the homes, the interest rate is close to 7, which is kind of interesting. So I guess multifamily lending is still a pretty low interest rate.
Yeah, not so bad.
But the downside, the downside with the multifamily lending is it's a 5-year term.
Right.
So I guess it's a bit of a risk. If you think in 5 years, the rates are going to go down, then it's good to get that 5-year versus the lending on the homes. It's a 30-year fixed.
You can probably get a 10-year term.
Yeah, I'm asking about getting a 10-year term, but I just kind of wanted to see what you guys' thoughts on that. If you guys think doing a 5-year would be good, or do you think? Because I was talking to a banker and he was saying, well, doing the 5-year could be risky because we've seen low rates, but traditionally there have been even higher rates in the teens. So he said, well, if it went into the teens after the 5 years, then you'll be, you could end up, having a high rate.
I think it matters. What are you doing with the refinance proceeds? I think it's a little bit bigger review of the situation than just what the rate is on one versus the other. It's what you're going to do with the money and how much you need and all that jazz. Albert's the one to probably chime in here better than me, but that was my first thought is.
I don't really have plans for the money. I mean, I've been kind of debating whether I even want to do it at all, but I think it would be good to have some capital in case there is a market correction. It might be good to have
you
capital.
Can get a line, Ian. Why are you taking out fixed term loan or close ended? That's lender term for a fixed term loan, right? It's not a line. It's a one shot deal.
I think I'm having trouble getting a line though.
But maybe you can get a line off your entire portfolio, not just that set of homes in that park. You're limiting yourself to, you're talking about, those, however many, that group of properties, but you own more. You can get a line, beyond that, not just related to those properties.
Just talk to a bank and ask for a line for the entire portfolio.
Yeah, you got to ask many banks. Don't just talk to one bank. I think Ian and I have talked about this for like 4 years. It's like you should be talking to like 4 to 6 community banks out there. I would do every single person, call every single commercial loan officer, and tell them the scenario. What do you need to get your LTV that you need, right?
I think the trouble though is I've talked to many banks, and a lot of banks don't want to do parks for some reason. The cash flow is definitely there and all that, but they just don't like parks. So I think that's a challenge about getting.
Have you ever tapped into Kevin Buppy's group that is all about parks, or Frank, what's his name? Joe, maybe you can find Frank, what's his name's our podcast with, remember Frank, I can't remember his last name. That is basically all about mobile home university. And you tap into those guys, they're going to know who the lenders are that will loan on that stuff. Have you tapped into those types of groups that are more specialty mobile groups?
Well, I am talking to a lender right now who is specialized in mobile homes, and I don't know. I can try to ask her, but from my understanding, she's not offering a line. She's offering, just a loan, a traditional loan.
You know what else I would do? I would, wherever your park is, I would look at the other, I'd pull up if you and see who is the lender on the other parks around you.
Okay.
Reverse engineer it. Who's the lender on the other parks around you, or who's the owner of the other parks around you? Call them up and say, hey, fellow park owner here, let's share some financing tips or shit like that. Troy might know. Here's Troy. Oh, Troy, is that Troy? Yeah, there's Troy.
What might I know?
Ian's talking about, go ahead, Ian. Financing.
Yeah, so I have some financing options. I can refinance my park, or I could with a 5-year term at 4.5 interest rate, or I can refinance some homes with a 30-year term at a close to 7% interest rate. So I was kind of like trying to figure out which option's better, because I guess there's a bit of a risk with that 5-year term is if the interest rates really start going up, I could end up locked in with having to refi at a higher rate. So they were suggesting to get a credit line on my portfolio, I think it's from my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, if I recall right, it's only like 50 pads, right?
62.
Okay. So, I mean, it's big enough to get a line of credit, but kind of too small for like a major CMBS kind of deal where you can get part of it is a refinance and part of it is a line of credit. Yeah, I mean
the
it
rate's
depends
gonna
on
be
how much
higher.
cash you need. Yeah. Wow.
Right? The rate's going to be higher. So you're going to push that 4.5 closer to your 7 on the other one. Isn't that right, Albert? Don't you think the rate would be higher? He's at Limitless, so he might not be able to answer.
The rate would be higher for a DSCR product, yes. If that's what we're talking about, or for commercial banks.
Line of credit. Would the rate be higher on a line of credit?
I'm hearing currently around mid-5s for interest-only lines of credit, but I don't know what it is in Georgia. That might be different.
Okay.
Frank Rolfe, Mobile Home University. We just dropped the podcast down there. We recorded it a long time ago. It looks like it's number 29 and we're up to number what? 163 now. Quite amazing. But there could be some tricks or some names dropped in there. I can't remember. Have a listen when you're driving around. Ian, that's for you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Cool. Anybody else got anything they want help with or want to talk about?
So is flipping during this time pretty much dead then? Because
No.
I'm finding a lot of just overhyped ARV still, and it's like I'm getting tired of pointing it out to them. Now it's like
Well,
looping my
again,
response over and over again.
I think you want to be in the pocket, right? And be waiting for those deals to not work out first go round. Don't just look at them once, say it's too high and move on. You need to keep a little
Okay.
of those and circle back.
All right, then I'm doing it right then.
Yeah, I think people are still flipping. I was talking to my buddy Jared Holland yesterday, and he's got 17 deals in the works right now. But, he's been more conservative. He built in a 10% price drop cushion on all his deals in case, because he got beat up in 2018. And we're not all the way in it yet, but we are looking like, in my opinion, that we're in the 2018 market, which is fine as long as you realize it and you know what to do. So.
Oh, I missed out. Okay, I got in at 2019. So what happened in 18?
Rates went up, buyers freaked out, The
Oh,
news always blows everything out of proportion, and then prices dropped kind of on a dime, 10%.
okay.
I don't know. Does anybody else remember 2018 to be different than that? It didn't last. I can't remember how long it lasted. It wasn't like that long that it lasted, but I think, like, you know, homes are still selling with multiple offers over list price in good locations that don't have variables. If I was flipping at this point, I would be staying away from any house that has a variable. What is a variable? No master bathroom, no garage, busy street, you know, 1-story with basement with no bedroom upstairs, you know, shitty backyard, bad outdoor space, up against a ravine with no backyard. I would not be buying anything like that, because those are going to be put on the back of the bus. Nope, those are going to get passed over because the buyers right now are super picky, and they think, let me just wait to see what happens on next week, right? And so sometimes they'll circle back or not, but if you have variables right now, you will get passed over, is my opinion. And that's what happened in 2018. But that's my segue into a really kind of cool topic. If you had let's say you had a deal that you listed your flip and it was stale and it was sitting there or whatever, right? There are ways to try and maintain your price. And the way that you do that is that you offer something that the buyers can't get from anyone else. So what does that mean? That means you offer to sell or finance it to them temporarily or something like that. Or you offer, you know, if it's let's say it's a rental that you had a conventional loan on that you've owned for a while, hard money on there, different situation, right? But let's say you have a BRRRR that you've had for a long time and has regular loan on that. Somebody needs to sell their house in order to buy theirs. You could do a lease option with them. You could do seller financing with them. And then they, you know, for a short-term basis, and then they pay you off. That's what I did in 2018, is I used lease options, and it works like a charm. It's like we're rolling into a great lease option market. So you own, you know, with a flip, I was going to see if we could get Alex on here from Certain Lending today, but I wanted to ask him if there was a way, if let's say I was an investor, okay, that had a flip and I had hard money on it, and my listing was going stale on me, and I want to maintain my list price or as close as I can as possible, and my payment is X amount per month, right? It's better. I don't want to lose 25 grand by having to sell it under market, right? But I have pressure on me because I have a hard money loan on there that costs me $3,500 a month, right? Well, what if I was able to sign a lease option on a short-term lease option with a buyer? Now I'm collecting rent. Let's say I'm collecting rent of $2,500 a month or something like that. I don't know. I'm just making this up right now, right? Or maybe if on a lease option, I can actually collect a premium rent because I'm offering a benefit to this buyer. And when you offer extra terms and benefits to buyers, you can charge more, right? So I'm making this up right now, guys. Let's say I had somebody that wanted to lease it with the option to buy because they needed to sell their own place. I'm wondering if Certain Lending, if we tell them, because we love you, Certain Lending, they will create products around problems to solve them. So I was trying to get Alex on here to say, I want a product for my investors where I can convert to your 30-year loan or some other bridge type of loan off my ugly hard money loan if I'm collecting rent, right? Kind of like a midway step on a BRRRR. I'm not going to BRRRR it. I'm going to sell it, but I'm going to step towards it like it's a BRRRR. And maybe you can get me off my hard money, shitty, expensive loan and give me some sort of bridge type of interim if I'm able to lock a lease in place for a year on a lease option, right? And so now I'm collecting rent you guys following what I'm saying? It's kind of high level stuff, but the buyer is actually going to buy the property. And when you give somebody like lease option terms, you can hold your price higher again, because you've offered them an opportunity to get into a property where nobody else is offering this type of stuff, because they have to sell first in order to buy. Lease options are great for this market right now. Okay. And I'm trying to make it work for investors, right? It totally works if you have a BRRRR with if you had a BRRRR with a conventional loan on there and you wanted to use lease options to get it sold to maybe maintain your higher price, you can do that because you're not burning off on hard money rates, right? And are you guys following me how this works, right? You can also offer to sell it with a contingencies. Contingent offers as investors or stale listings right now are your friend. Because if I said I'll offer, go ahead and make a contingent offer on my house, but in exchange, you're going to pay me my full list price after I've been on the market for 30 days or closer to it. Why can I ask that? Because I'm offering something they can't get elsewhere. I'm offering a benefit to that buyer. Whenever you offer a benefit, you can hold the line on price or you can charge a premium. Is this making sense to you guys? So everybody needs to be paying attention. Yesterday, I called three $2 million listings. I called 3 of them just to test my shit out here. And I said, hey, you've been on the market they missed their review date. I mean, I did it in varying degrees. One's like a new construction that's been on the market for 30 days. Sometimes they list them early, so that might not mean anything. One was a listing that only been on for, like 18 days or something like that. And one was a listing that was newer. I called all of them and said, any chance your seller would accept a contingent offer? 3 for 3, guys. 1, 2, 3. 3 for 3 said yes, in a very popular neighborhood. Okay. So if you have, use that, right? And use the fact that contingent offers are now in play to your advantage, right? If you have a stale listing, right? What I'm doing for my real estate team and my investors, everybody who hangs with me, is hell yeah, I'm keeping track of everybody who will accept a contingent offer, right? Because then we can synergize between us. I made a couple posts yesterday about it, right? Can synergize between us and get some extra deals done and try and hold the line on prices, right? Going to teach everybody I know about how to do lease options right now, because that's a great solution for stale listings or, properties that, you need to maintain the price on. You have to give something. What are you giving? You're giving favorable terms. You guys following what I'm saying? I don't know if any of you went to Jennifer Beadle's summit event like last year, but I did a big presentation on this. Joe, do we still have all the docs up on Seattle Investors Club? Remember how we did a little private? I don't know if Joe's
I'll have
here.
to take a look. I'm not sure.
Yeah, can you look whenever, no rush, just whenever you're in work mode, maybe take a peek, see if they're up there, because the time is ripe for that again. We might be able to offer a paid training or something. That's what I'm saying, guys. Time to get creative. Everybody else have anything to say about that or questions about that? If you're a broker, you can broker a lease option. If you're an investor, you can buy with a lease option right now, maybe, right? You can assign a lease option. You know what else you should drop? Remember Jacob's podcast back in the day, long ago, Creative Real Estate with Jacob Weaver? Let's drop that one. That covers this entire topic. Right? That's why you guys should show up. I'm going to give you all the goods. You show up here. Right? It's free information, man, to save your bacon or put you in a good spot as we roll into our 2018 e-market. Albert, can you hear me? Albert's at Limitless. Troy, so you don't go to Limitless and those types of things?
What's Limitless?
It's Tarl's new big badass thing, Arizona, and he's doing it with Ken McElroy. It takes
I do not do a lot of those types of things. No.
I'm with you. I don't travel to those types of things. I used to, but I don't do it anymore. There actually is one in California that one of my friends is putting on that I know that would be a good one that I might go to here. But if I go, I'll post it, see if anybody else is interested. But anything else going on, guys? What's your biggest challenge these days? Anybody? Besides Ian's problem of having so much equity, he doesn't know what to do with it.
I got a big problem.
You do?
Yes, I never get to see enough of Julia.
It's true. It's
that
so
is
true.
That's right. She's a Northie. Hey, though, Julia, us Clark girls like to hang at that Whatcom Falls up there. There's some fun cliff jumping swimming hole thing up in your hood up that, well, at least it's in Bellingham. You're out in Bow. But we'll be up there and we'll knock on your door.
You better contact me because I'll meet you up there. It's fun.
Yeah, super fun.
Troy, come too.
Yeah, Troy, come hang out with the girls.
I would love to, but you guys keep me too damn busy.
Oh, come on. All work and no play.
That's Troy, who's a pretty dull boy.
Well, Troy, you're a good hack at what's going on. You guys, Troy is everybody's favorite home inspector and investor, but everybody calls Troy for all their inspections, investors. So what's the investor world look like on your end?
I've seen a lot of requests this week for pre-offer inspections. So when you were talking about 2018 situations,
yeah,
that's what I'm seeing a lot more from my retail buyers right now is, hey, we can make a pass-fail inspection right now.
Oh, right. Okay,
so
what you're saying is people are getting offers accepted with inspection contingencies.
Yeah, and so I've done a couple pass-fails this last week and the pre-offer inspections. So people are more confident in waiving an inspection as being a motivator, especially when you've said, I have already done the pre-offer inspection, right? You're not going to try and renegotiate after you go under contract.
That has been in place for years, where the buyers, if there's not one offered, which is stupid for sellers not to offer up their own seller procured inspection, because otherwise the buyers all have to drop $400 a pop to maybe lose. So on listings that sellers have not been offering the inspection reports up, all the buyers for years have been getting their own pre-inspections done prior to making an offer. But what I'm saying is the shift in the market is the reverse. It is starting to be where in my world, everybody's saying, I got 3 offers accepted last week and it included my inspection contingency, meaning they did not have to pre-inspect. That's more moving towards the 2018 stuff, market having bumps, disconnecting, slowing down. And so you're going to end up seeing, I think, Troy, this will be so good for you to let us know when you start getting the calls for, I have it under contract and now I'm going to inspect. That's what we're looking.
I've got some pretty specific agents that always do that. So whether or not it's got any impact on if they're negotiating based on that, I don't know. But
are those buying investor deals doing that, or regular retail deals?
Those are retail buyers.
I don't know how they've gotten those through in the last while, but now, yeah.
Well, most of them are with VA lending, so there's always an inspection period.
Sense. I'm gonna
Yeah, but I got an offer on my park yesterday.
Woohoo!
Whoa!
Yeah.
Congrats.
Like,
I
are we
guess.
going
I
out
mean,
or what?
no, I mean, it's nowhere near where I want, but so now I've got to decide whether I have unrealistic expectations
Counter
or
it.
whether
Counter it.
we're almost $1 million apart. That's a pretty big counter.
Oof.
Well, you
Yeah.
got to figure out what your real number is and then counter them. But don't split the difference, right? Isn't that a book?
Yes, that is a book. Yeah, so it's good to get the last offer that we got was at 1.25. This one's moved up to 2. I've got an appraisal that's should be in my hands tomorrow, so I'm kind of holding off on that and hoping that comes back so that I can be like, hey, look, appraisal fresh off the printer here for you. This is what the park's worth.
Nice.
So yeah, it's either sell or continue with my hard money lender for another term, which sounds terrible too.
Let me ask you though, what would both for you and Ian maybe, what would need to happen to increase the value of your park further? What does that mean? You need to
I need like
more pads?
For me specifically, I've got, when I bought the park, we had 37 residents. We've got 75 now. But I'm still not at 50% occupancy, which is kind of the hurdle for traditional financing.
Are the mobile homes there and available, or you have to, so you just have vacancy, right?
Right. Well, I mean, they're not in service. They need rehab and then leased up. But yeah, so
I gotcha.
my
Is
problem,
that the hang up that you need funds to rehab the ones that are there? Is that the bottleneck?
Yep.
Can't you take any type of what if you brought in a little funding partner?
Because typically the funding partners want too much equity.
What if you, what's your loan to value right now?
60%, 40%.
40%. So you've got some room to put a second on there and still be under 70%. Can you find somebody that is willing to do a second that gives you, I mean, so how many homes do you actually need to rehab to get another 250 grand out of it, right? Is that 6 or do you know what I mean?
Well, I need to get over the 50% hump. I need 25 units and it's running us about 10 grand a unit to turn them. So I need about 250. And most, I can find people who are willing to do that, but they want the kind of lending numbers that I was doing. And I'm not that dumb.
So
I'm not dumb enough to borrow money for myself.
If you spent 250 on it,
how much will that increase? It'll be worth 4.5 on a 5.5 cap.
Well, that seems worth it.
Well, yeah, but that's another year of dealing with.
Another year, another million.
Another year, another 2 million.
Kind of seems like a no-brainer, man. I think you're
It does, but what's the opportunity cost? If I do that, right? If I cash out now, I can go out and I can buy 2 or 3 more parks and do this all over again. Get more units. Or do I hold on to this and push for higher in another year so that I can get more, I lose that year of opportunity cost of owning more pads and more parks.
So you're going to make an extra, what, $1.5–2 million in a year?
Yeah.
With your current park versus going to find another park that you might get, you have to buy, you know how hard it was to get the one, are you really going to have the upside of more than $2 million with other parks and the hassle? I mean, you got a bird in hand. To me, you have a proven model there. You don't have to find new partners. You don't have to, other than this 250, you've got a proven model. I think you should stick with what you got there, and you need to me, it seems like you're thinking too hard about it because you think there's something greener on the other side. Who's to say you're going to make a $2 million upside on the other side? And that could take 2 years instead of making it in 1 year.
One thing to consider is, interest rates are going up. So
Yep.
if you want to sell, you may want to sell now before interest rates go up, because if interest rates go up, then your value of your park could go down, because now it changes the cash flow that your park will make with that loan.
Sure. The cap rate will be compressed, or will be decompressed because of interest rates. But the value, because I'm not at occupancy, I'm not anywhere near max occupancy, the value of the park's just going to continue to scale until I get it, to until I get 175 homes.
I got an idea for you.
Done.
I got an idea. Go. That partner somebody will give you 250, right? Instead of using it to improve your park, go get some seller financing on another park. Use that person's 250 for the down payment, right? You have seller financing in place. Then, somehow figure out how to cross collateralize or get a line out on that one that has upside on it or equity built in when you buy it, and use the equity out of that one, a line on it, to do the improvements on your current park. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds complicated. It's a theoretical, because I really don't, I'm just trying to play out all these different scenarios and what's best. And part of my roadblock is, we've had a lot of struggles with this park, and our lender is very difficult to work with. Our current lender is very difficult to work with. And one of my goals has always been to take this property full circle so that I can start raising money, right? Start doing syndications for the parks, having that proven out model from buy to disposition. So it's a matter of, there's more than just the dollars.
You're sitting making the case to keep your current park and take the 250 and do the work and get it up there. Or maybe you do less of it. Maybe you go part way. Instead of making an extra 2 million, make an extra $1 million. Take 125 instead of 250. That means that partner doesn't get as big as a bite, and you get to accomplish all your goals.
Why don't you just refinance, and then you can pull out some money and use that money to put it back into the park and bring those units up?
Because the park's not financeable at 40% occupancy. I can't find anyone who will do a loan.
Ian will loan you. Ian, why don't you loan? You understand it. You give Troy the money he needs to get 10 more units done, or up 10%. There you guys.
Yeah, I'd do that. But it'd be a hard money loan. So
I'm already paying 12 on my mortgage on my hard money lender. So I'm not afraid of that kind of money.
Yeah. Let's talk offline and explore it.
Can't wait till you guys take me out for my steak dinner.
Yeah, I've decided to hold on to my park, even though I got a 3.5 million offer. I think I'm just gonna, I was tempted to sell it, but if I sell it, it's like, well, I still got to buy another property at a 5-6 cap. So it's kind of a, doesn't make, much difference.
Isn't Jan like cranking out park deals left and right, or are they not good deals?
I see a lot of good deals, but I think I want to have a deal where my team, if it's in another state or something like that, then I have to rebuild the team. And I think having the team is just, it's huge.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right, guys, it's 12:30. Does anybody have any final questions before we wrap it up today?
Thank you, Julie.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see you, sister.
Thanks once again.
Yeah.
Good chat, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.